How's it going, YouTube? Jonah from Athletics here. I just wanted to take you through a quick acceleration workout that Dawson and I did the other day. This can be used for any sport, any athlete, so soccer player, basketball player, football player, track and field athlete, anyone who's looking to get faster or more athletic. This is a great resource to watch, so make sure you stick around. So to no surprise, we start the workout up with a warm-up. I like to move into some dynamic flexibility. I honestly have no rhyme or reason to whatever I pick that day. Unless I'm sore in specific areas, then I'll target those areas. I'll make sure to target those areas. I usually just pick like 7 to 10 exercises and do 10 reps of each. So maybe I'll do hamstring kicks that day, or quad pulls, hip flexor stretch, trunk rotations. But honestly, just kind of pick what you want. There is no rhyme or reason to it. It's good in your warm-ups to change things up, don't make it monotonous. And then once we're feeling a little bit loose, we'll hop into some sprint drills. So I like to keep it specific to the day I'm doing. So if you're doing a max speed day or an acceleration day, you will typically have 2 different sets of warm-up drills. So on your top speed day, you'd have more like dribbles, straight leg bounds, that kind of stuff. But then on acceleration days, you'll have A-based variations. So skipping A's, marching A's, walking A's, triple A's, double switches. You have a lot of drills you can go with. I usually pick about 3 of those that I'll take, and then I'll do that over 10 to 20 meters, sometimes 30 meters as well, and I'll do each one like twice. With acceleration specifically, what you really want to focus on is having a proper posture, so no anterior pelvic tilt, no posterior pelvic tilt, at least to an extreme degree. You want to keep your back relatively straight. And then in these, you want all of the motion to come from your hips and your glute area. So some people are quad dominant and some people are glute dominant. If you want to be a really fast sprinter, you really do want to try and be glute dominant. And even if you're not trying to be a fast sprinter, but you just simply want to get faster because of the plethora of benefits of getting faster that we've touched in other videos, you want to be throwing your leg down using your glute. So when you're doing the triple A or a marching A, just make sure that your mind muscle connection is how you can think of it, is in the glute, and you're using your glute to drive it down. And then when you're doing those drills, if this is the leg that's down and this is the leg that's up, make sure that you don't put the leg down and then bring the other one up, but you start here and then you switch at the same time. See that? Kind of like that. So I see some people do down, up, but you want it like instant at the same time. So after I do some of those sprint drills, I do like to move into wall drills. I love doing wall drills. I feel like they've helped my acceleration a lot, and I know Dawson used to do them a lot when he made his really big improvement in his 60-meter dash. What's so beneficial about them is you can lean up against a wall, and it lets you go at about that 45-ish degree angle, which is ideally what you want for acceleration. Elite athletes kind of sit around there. If you're not an elite track and field sprinter, you probably won't reach 45 degrees in your actual sprint, but it's okay to mimic those angles and at least strive for that. So lean up against a wall, make sure you have the same rules that apply. So if my hand is my back, see, straight from head to foot. You don't want an arch this way, like a pelvic tilt, and you don't want it like that either. You want like a straight bridge. And exact same thing, you're driving everything using your hip and your glute area. So you can get creative with what you do here. You can do isometrics with one leg up, one leg down. You can do single switches, you can do double switches, you can do triple switches. Essentially every A drill that you can do, you can just do that here in a wall drill, and it helps you feel how acceleration should feel. So as you'll see here, we don't usually do these actually, but we did hill sprints today. Hill sprints are not too different from resisted running. I myself, and I know Dawson is a big fan of sled sprints. So put a weight on a sled, and then you can go really heavy or you can go really light. It kind of just depends on what you're going for. They have different benefits. If you're going light, it's more specific to sprinting, and it doesn't take away your form much. If you're going on the other end, you want to go really heavy. That's more power and strength development. So it depends on if you're going for more power and strength side of things, or if you're just going for technical aid. Usually when I do them, I go with the technical aid side of things. When you're met with resistance, like if you're running into the wind, naturally you'll want to lean down or bend down, and that's kind of what we want to do as humans, is assume an acceleration position when we're fighting resistance. So when you have a sled on your back, your body will just assume assume acceleration, and you want to stay in that position longer. That's why they're really good at helping teach you acceleration mechanics. But since we didn't have a sled this day, we opted for hill sprints, which give you similar benefits essentially. So we didn't do too many of these hill sprints, and then after we did hill sprints, we moved into regular acceleration sprints. So you'll see us on the track right here. We did 10-meter sprints, 20-meter sprints, 30-meter sprints. For fun, we even tossed in curve sprints because this was the first time we got outside. If you're not a track athlete, you don't need to worry about doing these types of curve sprints. These are more beneficial for a track athlete, like a 200-meter runner, anywhere up from there. But if you're an athlete, like in basketball, football, curved running is really, really beneficial, but it's probably more beneficial to do more sport-specific curve running scenarios on a football field or on a basketball court. But typically in an acceleration workout, for us, we don't do a lot of curved running since we're not 200-meter runners anymore. What we like to go with for a structure for our acceleration workouts is a ladder construct. So we'll usually do a 10-meter, a 20-meter, and a 30-meter, and you do that maybe like 3 or 4 times over. So you go 10, 20, 30, that's one set, 10, 20, 30, and then you just keep on running it back. You take about 1 to 2 minutes in between the 10s, 20s, and 30s, and then in between sets you can take like 5 minutes. Remember, we're not going for conditioning here. We want to be fast. We want to be really fast, so that means we need to be as fresh as possible. Sometimes we'll just do straight running too. Like we'll just do like say 10 30s and that's it. We won't even do 20 and 30 besides like warming up for 30. But that's typically what I like to go with. It's nice to hit all those different distances and then focus on different things within those different distances. So maybe in the 10-meter you're focusing on just your first like 7 steps, and in a 30-meter you're focusing not on the 7 steps but just beginning to transition into top speed. So after we hit sprints, we always like to go into plyometrics. And I've said this numerous times on the Instagram before. If you're doing acceleration work, you want to pair that with horizontal plyometrics. Acceleration is such a horizontal-based skill, and so you don't want to pair that with vertical plyometrics like what you do on a top speed day. If you watch someone at top speed, if this is the ground, their leg hits the ground perpendicular to the ground. If you're looking at acceleration, it's more like that. So it had like a 45-degree angle. Like it has a huge horizontal bias to it. So you want to pair it with the plyometrics that will reinforce those mechanics. Because if you toss in vertical plyometrics with an acceleration day, it's just like 2 conflicting ideologies. So if you toss in acceleration work with horizontal work, it helps you practice more horizontal force application, which is better for acceleration. But then typically horizontal plyometrics have longer ground contact times as well. And acceleration compared to top speed, in the acceleration phase, your ground contact times are longer than they are in top speed. Top speed ground contact times are so short. So horizontal plyometrics have a long ground contact time, horizontal force application. Acceleration has long ground contact times and a horizontal force application. So they go too nice together. Some horizontal plyometrics I like to use are broad jumps, triple broad jumps, standing triple jump, bound variations, just like regular bounds, whether it's alternating left right or left left right right or left 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 right right right. You can get really creative with it. Aside from reinforcing your mechanics, they develop power, so your ability to exhibit strength in a short amount of time, and elastic strength. So elasticity is essentially your body's ability to take force and reapply it, essentially like a spring. Like if you take a big heavy spring and load it and you put your finger in the middle and you let go, that's going to hurt a lot. That's a lot of force. So that's essentially what elasticity means for your tendons and your connective tissue. Is your foot comes down, meets the ground, it deforms, like it stretches, and then it just returns a lot of force. That's what you see in running too. You see someone's Achilles stretch and then contract on each stride. That's what gives you elite athleticism. Like when you see really fast people, or people who are amazing at jumping high off the run and converting that energy into elastic energy, that's essentially what plyometrics train. And so doing these horizontal ones with the horizontal acceleration stuff gives you elastic strength, power, and horizontal skill application. So for the sake of time on this workout specifically, we actually didn't end up lifting afterwards. Usually after all of our workouts, we do some sort of lift, whether it's Olympic lift, static lifting, ballistic lifting. We'll always implement one of those 3 things. Typically, we'll always do an Olympic lift or a power exercise. and will vary between static lifting or ballistic lifting based on the time of year. If we would have lift today, what I would have put on this day is about 5 to 6 sets of 4 power cleans. So those are not heavy, but on the heavier side, maybe like 65%. And then afterwards, I would have done a heavy squat day, which I typically only do once a week when I do have those in. And honestly, that's all the lift would have been for us after this workout. So if you're an athlete of any sport, make sure to use this workout. Like, football players can use it really well, basketball players can use it really well, soccer players, track and field athletes. This will get your acceleration speed faster across any sport that needs it. And even if you're an athlete who doesn't sprint that much, like even basketball players, they don't sprint that much. Volleyball players, they don't really sprint in their sport. Doing a little bit of speed training will raise the ceiling on your athleticism. I can guarantee you that. It'll make you jump higher, it'll make you quicker, it'll make you stronger. It's such a potent stimulus to put in your training. So if you're someone who does want to sprint, this is a great workout to do for anyone. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to check me and Dawson out, Med Athletics, on anything else, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website as well. And all those links will be in the description. So feel free to check out some of our content elsewhere.